Yeah, we'll get started in 2 minutes. Say that every day. So just know every time I start, it's always 2 minutes. Start in 2 minutes. So get your props organized. Blocks, strap or belt. If you have towels, those are helpful. Whatever you have around, grab. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My co-host has joined me. Oh, gosh. She knows what's happening. Welcome. Happy Thursday. Hope you all had a great week. Tomorrow is Friday. So happy for Friday. This is going to be a Vinyasa yoga flow. It's all levels. It's more so based towards strength building, stability, challenge, and it's about how to create that stability and control to get you to each pose. So, that's something to think about in today's practice. We're going to work up to a peak pose, and that peak pose may or may not be challenging for you. I will provide modifications, so it's important to modify if you need to. Okay, so that's really part of this yoga practice, is finding what works for you and allowing yourself to do that. So as we go through this practice, hone in to what feels good and what does not feel good, and be in that and respect that. And that's what it's about. It's not about pushing yourself past your limit. It's about accepting your limitations and then being there in that moment, allowing your body to just be wherever it naturally wants to be. Eventually, you will get somewhere. It just might not be today in this very moment, and that's okay. All right, so we're going to get started. If you need to take a rest, you can go in the child's pose. So child's pose, your knees can be together or apart. Excuse me, Winnie. Arms down in front of you, hips at your heels. Good Lord, cat. You can put your head on a block or on the floor. Arms can be down by your side as well. Excuse me, Winnie. All right, so that's your rest pose. If you get tired, go there, take a few breaths, come back whenever you're ready to meet us. Go ahead and lie down on your backs. And you can extend your legs onto the floor or bend your knees, feet on the floor, knees can be in to touch, arms down by your sides, palms flipped up, or if you like, you can flip your palms down, whatever feels more natural and comfortable for you in this moment. And then just close your eyes and find stillness in your body. I want you to focus on something. Find a distraction. Allow that distraction to come into your mind, and I want you to pay attention to it in this moment. It could be a thought, a feeling, a sensation, a sound, an animal. It could be anything. I want you to focus on that. Allow it to be there. Then concentrate on your breathing. So feel the air as it comes in through your nose, sensation, the feeling, and then feel it as it comes out. Again, take a deep breath in through your nose, focus on the feeling, the sensation, the temperature, and feel it as it comes out. So allowing that distraction to pass through and then refocusing on your breath. On your next exhale, exhale all the air out. Exhale, exhale, exhale. And then breathe in through your nose for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it unless you're pregnant or think you're pregnant. Don't hold it. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. One more. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Feel what it feels like. Let it be. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Notice the difference in the feeling. And then breathe in through your nose deeply. And breathe out deeply. Good. Now return to normal breathing. And then you can keep your eyes closed or you can open them. Your choice. I want you to extend your legs down to the floor if they're not already there. And I want you to flex your feet, bring your feet into their hip bone distance apart. So it's kind of like you're standing up, but you're lying down on the floor. Okay, so press your heels forward. And think about your toes pointing up and drawing back. Arms and down by your sides. Point your palms in towards each other. Relax your shoulders so they're resting on the floor. Think about lengthening your tailbone towards the backs of your knees, but still keeping that natural curve in your lower back, your lumbar spine. So press down into your sacrum, so that way you're not pressing down into your lower back. Keeping your feet flexed, inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. Pretend like you're holding a block between your hands, and you don't want to drop the block. And then exhale, don't drop that imaginary block. Reach your arms behind you. Don't touch the floor though, so hover 2 inches above the floor. Draw your rib cage toward your hip bones. Engage your core. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, release them down. And then inhale, draw your knees into your chest, holding onto your shins or behind your knees, your choice. You're drawing your knees in. Good. Keep your left leg extended. Take your hands and interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. And think about your knee lining up with your hip bone. So you're not drawing your knee in necessarily. So your knee is in line with your hip bone. Flex your right foot and then straighten your right leg. Press your heel up towards the ceiling. Leg does not need to go 100% straight, just going towards straight. Keep pressing down evenly into your hip bones. Good. Exhale, bend your right knee. Place your right foot on the floor. Send your right leg down. Then draw your left knee in. Interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. And then line your left knee up with your hip. Keep your right foot flexed. And then think about pressing your thigh into your hand and press your hand back into your thigh. And then start to straighten your left leg. Pressing your left heel up towards the ceiling. Keep your right toes pointing up. Good. Exhale, bend your left knee. Place your left foot on the floor. Extend your left leg down. Good. Reach your arms out into a T shape. Cactus shape if you don't have room, but a T shape is good. Draw your knees into your chest. Move your hips to the left. Drop your knees to the right, coming into a supine twist. So if you have any kind of back issue, deep twisting might not be the best idea. So you can not come down as far, all right? You can put a block underneath your knees or even in between your knees. Give a little bit of space. Good. Inhale, come to the center. Place your feet down. Move your hips to the right. Lift your knees up. Drop your knees to the left. Try to keep your knees in line with your hips. And if that doesn't feel good, again, you can lift up a little bit. Don't bring your knees down to the ground. You can put a block under your knees or between them. You're drawing your right shoulder down towards the floor. Good. Inhale, slowly come to the center. Place your feet on the floor. Reset your hips. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself one more big squeeze. And then grab on behind your thighs. Rock yourself forwards and backwards 3 times. Rock yourself up to sitting. Or just roll over to one side and come up to sitting. And find your way to tabletop. Warming up the spine a little bit. That's why I love some cat-cow movements. Get your arms in one line, your wrist, elbow, shoulders. And then untuck your toes so the tops of your feet are on the ground. And then make sure that your knees and your hips line up. So your knees aren't all the way back here and they're not all the way up here. Okay. Press down to the tops of your feet and your shins. Press your hands down and then lift up away from the floor. That's just so you're not sinking down into your shoulders. You're lifting up, drawing your shoulder blades together. And then on your next inhale, you're going to lengthen your chest forward and then start to look up for cow pose. And then very slowly take your entire exhale around your spine and then look toward your belly button for cat pose. Inhale, lift up, lengthen forward, then look up. Tailbone goes back and then lifts up. And then very slowly exhale, round your spine, look toward your belly button. Push the floor away with your hands. Perfect. Inhale, come back to the center. Come back to a neutral tabletop. Step your right foot back and come onto the ball of your right foot. Pause here. So lift up in your arms. So you're pressing down into your hands. You're lifting up away from the floor. Draw your tailbone towards your right heel. So you're lengthening your tailbone down so it's not sticking up. And just look right past the edge of your mat. Try not to look up at me. Lift your left arm up to shoulder height, palm facing in. Press down into your right hand. Keep lifting away from the floor so you don't start sinking down into your right elbow. And just a very slight bend in your right elbow so that way your elbow doesn't go forward. Keep lengthening your tailbone down. Lift your right leg up a couple inches. Toes stay pointing down. Press your heel back. Breathe. Reach your left fingertips forward as you reach your right heel back. Good. Exhale, come back to tabletop. Reset yourself and switch sides. Extend your left foot back, so the ball of your left foot. Pressing down into the top of your right foot and shin. That's going to help you create balance and leverage. And then press down into your left hand. Straighten your left leg. Make sure that you're pressing your thigh up so your knee's not bent. Press that really high up. Lift your right arm up to shoulder height, palm facing in. Keep lengthening your tailbone towards your heels. And then your next inhale, lift your left leg up just to about hip height. It doesn't even have to be that high. Reaching through your right fingertips, pressing out through your left heel. Drawing your rib cage towards your hip bones. Breathing, that's most important. Lift up out of your left arm. Great. Okay, exhale, come back to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, and then inhale, lift your knees up an inch off the floor. Keep lifting up away from the floor. And then exhale, put your knees down. Inhale, lift up an inch, hold it. And exhale, come down. This time, inhale, lift up an inch, hold it. And then your exhale, you're lifting your hips up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog. And you can move your feet back a little bit. But what I want you to do is bend your knees a lot and lift your heels up a lot. And then really lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Tailbone reaching up. Pressing down into your hands. lifting away from the floor, through your elbows, through your shoulders, all the way down to your tailbone. Then inhale, slowly come forward to plank. Pause. So in plank, you can always drop your knees, okay, right where they are in space. Your knees will be behind your hips. This is a modification for plank. You can come here at any point in time. I'm sure I will do it a few times as I teach. Otherwise, stay here. Press your thighs up, lengthen your tailbone down, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Bending your knees, lifting your heels. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do a little bit of pumping action, okay? So on your own breath, you're going to inhale, you're going to pump yourself forward to plank, and then exhale, come back. Bent knees, heels lifted. Inhale, reach forward, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, come forward to plank. Option 1, drop your knees. Okay, if you are going to crash down to the floor, you're going to drop your knees. Otherwise, shift your weight forward. Draw your upper arms in. Lower all the way down. Your entire body goes with you at one time. Okay, how was that? All right, we're going to do that again in a second. All right, hands are underneath your shoulders, upper arms drawing in. So think about your triceps drawing in towards the middle of your body. Tops of your feet pressing down to all 10 toes. Inhale, lengthen your chest forward, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. And exhale, come down. One more time, inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Keep lengthening your tailbone toward your heels. Keep drawing your upper arms in. And you're thinking about your chest going forward, then lifting. And exhale, come down. Good. Inhale, press yourself up to tabletop. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So the reason why I instruct to keep your knees bent, your heels lifted, is because a lot of times when you go to straighten your knees and bring your heels down, your lower back starts to round. So you want to create that length in your lower back. And to do that, it's bending your knees and lifting your heels up so you can really lengthen and lift your tailbone up. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet. Hands back to feet. Slowly. Feet are hip bone distance apart. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen. Place your hands on your shins. Slight bend in your knees. Lengthening your chest forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen again. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides and over your head, reaching your fingertips up. Okay, stay here. Come up to the balls of your feet. Very slowly, lengthen your tailbone down. As slow as you can go. Walk to the top of your mat on the balls of your feet. And then once you get up there, pause. Keep breathing. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into a toe squat. Don't drop your heels down. This is the name of the game. Don't drop your heels. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to draw your tailbone slightly back as you bend your knees. Knees come forward, tailbone lengthening down. And you want your shins parallel to the floor. Keep reaching your arms up. Keep breathing. Okay, very slowly. Go back up. Stay on the balls of your feet. Okay, exhale, come down. How was that? Did it work? Okay. Hopefully it did. If it didn't, it's okay. You'll get there. All right. Come back to Tadasana at the top of your mat. Feet are hip bone distance apart. Arms down by your sides. Lengthening your tailbone down. Lifting up from the sides of your waist. You're rotating your arms out from your shoulders. So draw your shoulders back. You're rolling your shoulders. And then flip your palms forward. Lift up from the crown of your head. And then your next inhale, reach your arms up in front of you. Exhale, forward fold, hinging from your hips. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. This time, so option 1, you can always put your hands on blocks, right? So if you have a difficult time getting your hands to the floor, you can put blocks by your hands and use your blocks. If you can get your hands to the floor pretty comfortably, what I want you to do is take your fingertips And I want you to kind of draw them back so they're in line with your toes. Slight bend in your knees. And then on your next inhale, keep your fingertips by your toes. Inhale, just lengthen your chest forward. This is Ardha Uttanasana. So when I say lift up halfway, this is really where you're going. You're not really going up halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Then inhale, step your left foot back. Come into a lunge, like a runner's lunge. Move your right foot to the right 1 or 2 times. Press your left thigh up. Draw your outer right hip in. And then your next inhale, come up into your fingertips, look up. Good. Keep lengthening your chest forward. Again, you can have your hands on blocks here. Place your hands on your hips, elbows point up. Slowly lift your torso up. Reach your arms up for a high lunge. Sinking down into your right knee, keeping your right knee in line with your ankle, and then bending your left knee just a few inches so you can lengthen your tailbone down and lift your torso up. And then draw your upper arms under, press into your imaginary block that's between your hands. Sink down a little bit lower. If your knee's going past your ankle, make your stance longer. Left heel pointing up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, straighten both legs. And exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. Inhale, snap your fingers 2 times. Exhale, place your hands under, frame your right foot. Pick the ball of your right foot up so you're just on your heel. Okay, and then from here, pick your foot up, slowly step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. So again, drop your knees. If you're going to crash down, draw your upper arms in, shift your weight forward, lower all the way down to the floor. How your body goes with you at one time. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, lift your chest up, baby cobra. Exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Again, keep lengthening your chest forward. Lift your hands up an inch off the floor. Press down into the tops of your feet. Look right past the edge of your mat. Don't look at me. And exhale, release. Go one more time. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. This time, option to stay here or straighten your arms about 50 to 60%. Lengthen your chest forward, lifting up. Pressing down to the tops of your feet for high cobra. Keep drawing your upper arms in. Exhale, release, come down. Okay, from here, tuck your toes under. Walk your feet in. So you're walking your feet in so your thighs and your knees lift up, and then draw your tailbone down. So you don't want your hips lifting up off the floor. Lengthen your tailbone down. Place your forehead on the floor. Walk your hands back so your wrists and elbows line up. You can look back there if you need to. Okay. Keep lengthening your chest forward. Draw your upper arms in. Lengthen your tailbone down. On your next inhale, you're going to press into your feet and your hands. Press yourself up to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. I can't see you, but I think that was great. On your next inhale, lift your hands. Walk to the top of your mat. Separate your feet so they're hip bone distance apart. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms in front of you and over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. Okay. So a couple things here. I can't see you, so I don't know how to cue you, so I'm just going to cue some normal things that I see. So think about lengthening your tailbone towards the floor. It's not going this way. It's not going this way. It's going straight back, right, towards the floor behind you. Shift your weight back slightly. You should be able to see your toes. And then maybe you can challenge yourself and sit down a little bit more. Lift up from the side to your waist. Feel like you're holding that block between your hands again. So you're drawing your upper arms in. Keep breathing. Okay. On your next inhale, I want you to press into your left foot. Straighten your left leg and lift your right knee up. Okay. Stay here. Keep reaching your fingers up. Another option, bring your hands together, heart center. If you want easier modification, bring your hands together, heart center. On your next exhale, you're going to come into warrior 3. So right foot starts to reach back. Bringing your torso parallel to the floor, reaching your fingertips forward or hands at heart center. You can also put your hands on blocks at the tallest height. Get your right toes to point down. Press your right heel back. Slight bend in your left knee. but still pressing your left thigh back. Drop your right hip a couple inches. Lengthen your torso forward. Keep breathing. Okay, bend your left knee a couple inches. Slowly step back into a high lunge. Good. How'd that go? I know it's still early. We're getting warmed up. Okay, next inhale, straighten both legs. And exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. Inhale, snap your fingers 2 times. And then exhale, place your hands on the frame, your left foot. Pick the ball of your left foot up, so you're on your heel. And then pick up your left foot. Slowly step back, downward facing dog. Okay, I want you to listen carefully. The other thing about yoga is listening. So stay on the balls of your feet. Okay, so don't untuck your toes at any point in time. So keep on the balls of your feet. Inhale, shift your weight forward to plank. And then on your exhale, you're going to drop your hips and lengthen your chest forward and up for upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Staying on the balls of your feet. Press your thighs up. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Lift your arms up away from the floor. So you're pressing into your hands, lifting up. Lift your chest, and then draw your shoulder blades together. Breathe. Okay. Inhale, slowly come back to plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, come forward to plank again. And then exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Knees up or down, however you get there. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, lift your chest up, baby cobra or high cobra. Exhale, release, come down. Okay, this time keep your toes tucked, or not tucked, the tops of your feet pressing down. Walk your hands back so your wrists and elbows line up. And you kind of have to look back there. You kind of get it right. You don't want them too far back, and you don't want them too far forward. All right, press down into the tops of your feet so your kneecaps will lift up. Lengthen your tailbone down. So the one thing you don't want to do is overarch in your lower back, okay? You want to contain that and lengthen it. So lengthen your tailbone down. On your next inhale, lift up to baby cobra, pause here. Okay, so you can always stay here. You don't have to go any further than this. If you have back issues or anything like that, it might be advisable to stay here. On your next inhale, lift up to high cobra. And then maybe straighten your arms, lift your thighs up to upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. There, your next exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Your next inhale, lift your hands, walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Fingertips down or on your shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms in front of you and over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. Firm your outer hips in. Lengthen your tailbone down. So you're not doing this. You're not doing something like this. Finding that middle. Pretend like you have a block between your thighs and you're pressing into that block, and the block is kind of pressing down towards the floor. Press down into your heels. Shift your weight back a little bit. Keep breathing. Maybe sink down a little bit more. Okay, your next inhale. Put all the weight into your right foot. Straighten your right leg. Lift your left leg up. Knee bent. Left foot flexed. Okay, so option 1 is to stay here with your arms. Option 2 is to bring your hands together to heart center. And then firm your outer hips in. Don't let your right hip stick out. Firm everything in. And then your exhale coming into warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Left toes stay pointing down. That's the trick. Get your left toes point down. Reach your fingertips forward or hands at your heart center. Slight bend your right knee, but still pressing your right thigh back. Drop your left hip just about an inch or 2. Keep breathing. Hands can always go on blocks. Okay, and then bend your right knee a couple inches. Hold it. Slowly step back into your high lunge. Good. Your next inhale, straighten both legs. And exhale, lunge. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, lunge. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, place your hands on the frame of your right foot, step your right foot back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, separate your feet so they are the width of your mat. Okay, so your feet are wider than hip bone distance apart. You're going to bend your knees and start to walk your hands back. And we're going to come into a squat. So if you have hip issues, knee issues, you don't have to squat down like very far. Like this is still a squat. Okay, like you can be lifted up. Otherwise, you can sit on something like a couple blocks. The other thing to think about, if you don't have any knee issues or pain or anything like that, is when you start to squat down, think about your tailbone flicking back as you come down. So that way your tailbone, your pelvis is more an anterior tilt than a posterior tilt, and you're not rounding in your lower back. And again, if that just causes too much pain mentally or physically, just come up a little bit higher, because that's fine too. Turn your toes out. And if you need to make your feet wider, you can do that as well, but you don't want it more narrow. Your feet should be about the width of your mat. Heels should be on the ground, and you're pressing into all four corners of your feet. Hands together to heart center, pressing your arms into your legs, pressing your inner thighs back into your arms, lifting your chest up, pressing your shoulder blades towards each other. Okay. Option 1, stay here. Okay. Option 2, Bakasana crow pose. If you want to try it, let's try it together. If you are used to Bakasana crow pose and this is something that you have done regularly, go for it. Go for it a few times if you need to. If you want to test it out, you're going to parallel your feet. Okay, so you're going to turn your toes in so your feet are parallel. Bend your knees, and you can round your spine as much as you need to get your knees as high as you can on your upper arms. Okay, so it's kind of like your knees are in your armpits a little bit. Hands come down in front of you, and you want to give yourself some space. You don't want to be all the way back here, because then you're going to just topple forward. Okay, and you don't want to be too far out, because then you can't get up. If you're afraid of falling, don't be. Okay, I mean, it is a thing. You can put blocks in front of you or some towels. And if you fall on a nice cushy surface. And then just laugh, because life is not that serious and it's okay. I've fallen many, many times. Turn your hands slightly out. Press down into your fingertips. Draw your upper arms in. So you're doing like a chaturanga, okay? All right, what you're going to do now is you're going to pick your heels up, shift your weight forward. You should do a suction cut with your hands. So your knuckles lift up and you're pressing down into your fingertips and the outer edge of your hand. Now, lengthen your chest forward. Look forward. Don't look at your feet. As you do that, your feet should naturally start to lift up. Maybe you're just lifting one toe off the floor. Maybe the other toe. Maybe both feet. Maybe bring your feet together. Okay, and then exhale, bring your feet to the floor. Bring your hands together. Lift your chest up. Whether you were successful with that, even for a split second, or you weren't successful at all, it's okay. There is always tomorrow. Good. Okay, here's what we're going to do from here. So you should be towards the back of your mat. So option 1 is to walk your hands to a plank, okay? Option 2 is to leap forward, okay? If you leap forward, you have to land with your elbows bent in chaturanga. So you're leaping forward, landing in chaturanga. Forward, chaturanga. Okay? But the other option, just walk your hands to plank. Okay, don't think about it. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. If you're in plank, you can go to baby cobra or just meet us in downward facing dog. Good. From here, look to your hands, walk or step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides and over your head, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your right foot back. Come into your lunge. Move your left foot to the left 1 or 2 times. From your outer left hip in. Right thigh pressing up. Okay, so you see I'm not bending my right knee, pressing my thigh up. And make your stance longer so you can lengthen your tailbone down. Heel pointing up. You always have blocks under your hands. And then inhale, come up onto your fingertips, look up. Again, blocks make this a little bit easier, more accessible. Place your hands on your hips. Slowly lift your torso. Bending into your left knee. Bending slightly in your right knee. Just so you can get your tailbone to lengthen down. You can lift your torso up. Reach your arms up. Maybe sink down a little bit more into your left knee. And then really press into your left heel. It's going to fire up your hamstring. Good. Inhale, straighten both legs. Think about your hip bone scooping up. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale, place your hands on the frame. Your left foot, step your left foot back. Exhale, chaturanga. Come down halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right, next inhale, lift your right leg up behind you to hip height. Toes point down, flex your foot, press your heel back. And then exhale, shift your weight forward, bring your knee into your chest, lift your knee up higher. Place your right foot in between your hands. So if your foot did not come up high enough and your knee's not in line with your ankle, you literally just pick it up and put it there. That's fine. Then spin your back heel down to the floor, bring your back toes in. Move your right foot to the left 1 or 2 times so your front heel lines up with your back arch. And then inhale up to warrior 2. Your Vinyasa 2. Sinking down to your right knee, reaching your fingertips away from each other. Arms on one line, gazing over your front middle finger. Right toe is pointing forward. And then look down at your right knee. You should be tracking over your second and third toe. And just keep breathing. Lift up from the sides of your waist. And then think about your front hip, your right hip drawing forward. And then draw your right hip under. Keep pressing your inner right thigh to the right. Press your left thigh back. Good. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Keep your arms where they are. And exhale, warrior 2. Inhale to reverse warrior. Reach your right arm up, reach it back. Keeping both arms straight, left hand is resting on your back thigh. Good. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, shift your weight forward. You can place your right hand to the outside of your foot. Left arm reaches up. Personally, I always use a block here. So if you have one, you can use it by placing it under your right hand. Otherwise, you can place your right elbow on your right knee. I just find that it creates a little bit more space to have my hand on a block or my elbow on my knee. Good. Lengthen your ribcage forward. So think about your bottom ribs lengthening forward. Reach your left arm to the front of the room, palm facing down. Sink down a little more into your right knee. Then press down into your feet. Inhale, slowly come back up to warrior 2. Exhale, place your hands down to frame your right foot, step your right foot back. Your choice, chaturanga. Baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. All right, inhale, come forward to plank. Option 1, keep your knees up for a more challenging pose here. Option 2, put your knees down. You're going to take your right elbow, place it where your right wrist is. Left elbow where your left wrist is. Coming into forearm plank. Knees up or down. Your choice. Doesn't matter. The other thing you can do, stay here, is you can interlace your fingers. If that makes it a little bit better for you and helps you to breathe, you can do that too. I probably do that since I'm talking. Press down into your forearms. Press down into your hands. Lift your armpits away from the floor. Lengthen your tailbone toward your heels. Press your front thighs into your back thighs. Keep breathing. It doesn't last forever, even though it feels like it. Keep lifting up away from the floor. You can always drop your knees. Good. From here, take your right hand, place it where your right elbow is. Your left hand where your left elbow is. Exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose, your choice. Keep lifting up away from the floor. So try not to get lazy in your downward facing dog. Still lift away from the floor. Drawing your heels down, more so the energy is drawing down. You're not necessarily bringing your heels all the way to the floor. Good. Inhale, look to your hands. Walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides and over your head. Exhale, side bend to your right. So right hand comes down, right arm comes down, left arm reaches over. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Good. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your right foot back, come into your lunge. Spin your back heel down, bring your back toes in. Move your left foot to the right. 1 or 2 times, just so your heel lines up with your arch. Keep drawing your left buttock under, and then inhale up to warrior 2. Virabhadrasana 2. And pause, and hold, and breathe. So you want, ideally, to get your left thigh parallel to the floor. It doesn't have to be, okay? And you can also make your stance a little bit wider. Your feet can be wider apart. Knee over your ankle. Don't go more past your ankle. You can make your stance longer if that happens. Press down into your left heel. You'll feel your hamstring engage. And then think about your front hip and draw that forward, pressing your right thigh back. Reach your fingertips away from each other. Keep breathing. And then inhale, straighten your front leg. And exhale, bend. Good. Drawing your left buttock under. Keep pressing your inner left thigh to the left. Inhale to reverse warrior. Keep pressing your right thigh back. A lot of times we bend our right knee. Keep pressing your back leg back. Sink down a little bit more into your left knee. Make sure your left knee is still pointing forward. And then exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten your front leg. And then exhale, bend. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Place your left hand to the outside of your foot. Right arm reaches up. Or put a block under your left hand or your left elbow to your left knee. And so you don't want to do a rainbow shape. You don't want your side and your torso to curve, right? So that's why lifting up a little bit on something is very helpful. So think about your bottom ribs lengthening forward. Top ribs drawing back. Bottom ribs drawing forward. And then reach your right arm to the front of the room. Sink down a little bit more into your left knee. Do less weighing down in your bottom arm. Good. Inhale, slowly come back up to warrior 2. Exhale, place your hands under frame your left foot. Step your left foot back. Your choice, chaturanga. You can flow through it. Just meet us in downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. You can always go to child's pose. Next inhale, come forward to plank. All right. Remember, you can always put your knees down. Place your left elbow where your left wrist is. Your right elbow where your right wrist is. Coming into forearm plank. Hands, forearms pressing down. You can interlace your fingers if you like. You can place your knees down if you like. There's lots of ways to do these. Keep breathing. Good. From here, I want you to start to lift your hips up, walk your feet in, so you're in dolphin pose. Try to keep your elbows lined up with your wrists. Bend your knees as you move your feet in, lifting your tailbone up. Press down into your forearms. Lift your shoulders away from the floor, so you're lifting up. Keep breathing. And then slowly walk your feet back. Come back into forearm plank. And then exhale, come to Sphinx pose. So you're dropping your hips to the floor, untucking your toes, feet are hip bone distance apart, pressing down to the tops of your feet. Pressing down into all 10 toes. And look down at your arms. Make sure your wrist, elbows, and elbow shoulders line up. And then lengthen your chest forward and lift. Good. Keep pressing down to the tops of your feet. Reach your right fingertips forward so your arm is straight. Lift your right arm up, palm facing in, but keep pressing down to your left hand. Keep pressing your feet down. Good. Exhale, come back to Sphinx pose. Switch sides. Left fingertips forward, and then lift your left arm up. You don't ever have to go any further than you feel comfortable going. And exhale, come down, slowly lower down. Arms can go down by your sides. Just turn one cheek to one side. You can wiggle your hips a little bit. And then just find some stillness. Good. And then bring your chin to the mat. Bend your elbows. Place your hands by your shoulders. Do not go to child's pose yet, okay? Try not to go to child's pose right after doing back bends. So just press yourself up the tabletop and come to sitting. Okay. If you have access to a wall, go to the wall. If you've ever taken my class, you know how I love my wall stuff. If you do not have a wall, you don't need a wall, okay? You're fine. If it's like way too far away, I mean, we're all surrounded by walls, I think, but you know, and I guess you're watching on a computer, maybe a TV. So if there is a wall nearby, go to it. Otherwise, if you do not have a wall, nor want to use your wall because maybe you don't want to put your feet on it, I'm going to have you do dolphin pose. So you're going to come to your hands and knees, elbows to the floor. You're going to lift up. You're going to walk your feet in, just like we just did. And you're going to lift one leg up, lift the other leg up. Hold it for a little bit longer than that, though. Okay, so I'll cue you in a second. So that's what you're going to do if you don't want to use your wall or don't have a wall. Those at the wall, what I want you to do is sit. I bet some of you are like, yay, we're doing it. Okay. You're going to sit with your back flat against the wall. Tailbone up to your shoulders. Okay. Feet out in front of you. Take something, anything. It could be a block. It could be a strap. It could be a pen. Okay. Just something around you. And mark your outer ankles with that something. It's just a marker. You're not doing anything with it. Okay, so your outer ankles. Then you're going to come into a tabletop position. So your heels are against the wall. The balls of your feet are on the floor. Okay, and you're in a tabletop. Arms are on one line, wrist, elbow, shoulders. I wish I had a wall. I'll probably use this one. I might do that in a second. Turn your hands slightly out. And then press your hands down, lift up away from the floor. So one thing is you don't want to sink down into your shoulders. If you ever do an inversion, even downward facing dog, you want to lift up and away from the floor, okay? Pressing down to your hands, lifting up. Okay. And again, we're going to do this step by step. So you just go wherever you feel comfortable. You do not need to go any further than your comfort zone, okay? On your next inhale, you're going to lift your hips up. So you're lifting your hips up like you're in a shortened downward facing dog. So the balls of your feet are on the floor. This is like me from the side, in case you want to see it. Heels are on the wall. Okay? Lifting up. So you're lifting your arms away from the floor. You don't want to sink down. Lift up. And then from here, I want you to lift your left foot. Place the ball of your left foot on the wall at hip height. Think about where your buttocks are. Hip height. And maybe you stay there. Okay, maybe this feels like it's getting a little uncomfortable and you just want to stay here for a second. Okay, if you want to go further, you're going to press your foot into the wall and lift your right foot up to meet it. Lift away from the floor. Okay, bend, your knees are still bent, pointing down. Now, if you want to just switch your feet, you can do that. Or you're going to start to straighten your legs. And they might not go 100% straight, okay? So, but you're just lifting your thighs up. So you're pressing your front thigh into your back thigh as you straighten your legs. Tailbone lifts up. Arms stay in one line. Okay. Exhale, come down. And if you're in dolphin pose, just come to child's pose. Okay. So I do want to do that again because I know some of you and some of you have done this before, and that's awesome. But if you're joining me and you've not taken one of my classes before, I want to demonstrate. This is something I do a lot. So this is a handstand prep. It's the beginner variation kind of to a handstand practice. So, and it's really challenging. It's actually more challenging than the handstand itself because you're really containing everything and really engaging all the muscles you're going to need to do a handstand. So hard for me to demonstrate though without the wall. So I might turn this next time so we have wall space. But just pretend I have a wall here. So your heels are on the wall. You want your spine long, pressing your hands down, lifting away from the floor. And then you're just lifting your foot up to hip height, okay? And you're pressing into the wall and lifting up. So a lot of this happens. Keep your arms straight, lift up, okay? And then you're pressing your foot, lifting your other foot up. And this is really challenging in and of itself. So maybe you're just kind of switching your feet, bringing one foot down, then the other foot. Then you're straightening, but it doesn't have to go 100% straight. Don't let your shoulders come past your wrists. Okay, so it's really important. Okay, one more opportunity, if you want to take it, to do that. If you want to lift one leg, you can. Dolphin posers, you're here, you're walking your feet in, lifting one leg, maybe taking a few hops, like that. Don't fall around, just do like little baby hops, okay? Which is a variation of Pinchamayurasana without bringing your feet up. Give you 3 more breaths. 1, 2, and 3. And slowly come down and come to sitting or child's pose, your choice. And slowly, if you're in child's pose, come up to sitting. So I've really missed doing or teaching handstands. It's something I teach in person in a lot of my classes. And I really miss doing that. And it's challenging for me to do it online because I can't see everybody. So I don't know what to cue. So, but I wanted to kind of start playing around with handstands and L-shaped handstand is what we just did. So I'm going to continue doing that. But again, you don't have to go to that level. You can do a lot of different things, which is what the beauty of yoga is all about. Okay. Bring your feet together. Knees out. And you can have a small diamond. You can have a larger diamond, whatever feels good. But press your feet together. So press your big toe mounts together. And if you want to hold on to your feet to keep them together, you can. Otherwise, hold on to your shins right above your ankles and lift your torso up. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other. And then your exhale, you're going to come forward. And when you can't go forward anymore, you can go ahead and round over. Good. Inhale, slowly come up. And we're going to come into a wide-legged stance. So you're going to bring your knees up. You can use your hands to guide your knees up. And you're going to make your legs wide. But, I mean, this is whatever your definition of wide is. It doesn't have to be like, crazy wide. It could be here. I have somewhat of a little hip injury, so these types of things hurt my hip. That's okay. I just shorten mine a little bit. Flex your feet, point your toes up, press your heels forward. If you feel your lower back rounding, so if your pelvis feels like it's tilting under and your lower back is rounding, I would highly recommend that you get a towel or a blanket and you fold it and you sit on the edge of it. What that does is it gives your pelvis a tilt forward, so it creates some length in your lower back. Place your hands down in front of you. Keep your knees pointing up and your toes pointing up. So what happens is your toes tend to point in or your knees start to point in. Keep pressing your legs down. If this is uncomfortable, the other thing you can do is take some towels. You can roll them up and put them under your knees. That also feels really good. If you have hamstrings, that's the way to go. Keep lifting up from the sides of your waist and slowly start to walk your hands forward. Keeping your spine long. Okay, it's okay to have a natural curve in your upper back. You're trying to create length in your lower back. Keep your sit bones on the floor. Good. And then from here, start to walk your hands over to your right leg. And take your right hand and place it to the other side of your right leg. So both hands are framing your leg. Lift your chest. And then exhale, just twist a little bit more over your right leg. And if you want to go ahead and fold over, you can. Otherwise, just stay right there. Inhale, slowly come up. Come back to the center. Walk your hands to the left side. Left hand to the outside of your left leg. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, twist a little bit over your left leg. And then if you would like to fold over, you can. Otherwise, you can just keep, yourself lifted up a little bit. Good. Inhale, slowly come up. Come back to the center. And then from here, go a little bit more forward or just stay where you are. If you would like to bring your forearms to the floor, you can. If your toes start to point in or your knees start to point in, come up a little bit. Good. Slowly come up. Take your hands behind your legs. Use your hands to guide your legs together. Bend your knees. Place your feet on the floor and lower down to your backs. Good. Extend your legs down, or you can keep your knees bent, knees into touch if you like, and then just give yourself a nice hug. Relaxing your shoulders towards the floor. Still finding the space to breathe. Good thing about what arm is on top. Reach your arms up. Exhale, switch the arm that's on top. Good. Inhale, reach your arms up. Take a happy baby pose, our last rest pose, or our last pose before our rest pose, Shavasana. So if you don't like happy baby, you can do thread the needle, one ankle over your knee, drawing your knee in, okay? Or happy baby, holding your outer feet, inner feet, big toes behind your thighs, wherever you can grab that feels good. And feet press or lifting up towards the ceiling. Knees are right to the outside of your ribs, and then you're drawing your knees down. Keep your sacrum pressing down. Keep breathing. Preparing yourself for Shavasana, allowing yourself to return to your breath. When you're ready, bring your legs down, bring your arms down, finding stillness. If you do have that wall, you can do legs up the wall. If you have blocks, you can put them under your knees, rolled up towels under your knees. Just finding your way to a comfortable position. Finding your breath. And if you have any distractions, whether it's the same distractions you had before class, or maybe they're different now, accepting that, and it's okay. And allowing them just to pass through. And when you're ready, returning back to your breath, breathing in and out. And slowly start to deepen your breathing. Just wiggle your fingers and toes. Make some circles with your wrists and your ankles. Go the other direction. And slowly roll over to any side and pause there for a moment in a fetal position. Using your top hand, slowly press yourself up to sitting. Come to any comfortable seated position at the top of your mat. And then bring your hands together to heart center. And close your eyes. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in every one of you. We vow to complete our practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you so much. You know, the all-level classes are a little more challenging because they're more strength-based, but anybody can do them. It's just all about finding what is right for you in a pose and what modification feels good. So, you know, I do these types of classes mostly every Thursday. We're going to be having a beginners with meditation on Saturday. It's my favorite day. We start out with a little bit of meditation. I just feel like meditation is super helpful in a time like this, and it helps with stress, anxiety, and just, you know, overall daily life. And then we'll do a beginner's slow flow, as I call it. It's not necessarily gentle, but it's close to gentle. So I hope you all join me. Have a great Friday. Yeah, thank you so much. I miss you all. I can't wait to see everybody again. Namaste.